Namaskar. Welcome to Prakash on Basics. As a subpart of Vedas, I talked on the Upanishads of what the term is, what are its meanings, what is the background as to how the Upanishads came to be as a part of the Vedas. We need to concentrate on what is more relevant for us today, uh, useful to us also. A major part of the Karma Kand has less significance as of now. So it is the Jnana Kand, that is the Upanishads, that are of major significance, of greater use for all of us in the present times. So naturally, we need to understand Upanishads a lot better. I'm going to deal with the basics of Upanishads starting from today. So, what's so great about these Upanishads? Let's look into some of the major aspects related to this. These deal with higher studies. Is that like a college? No, it's beyond that. It's like research or going in for your PhD, where you have a guide who guides you, only provides you the means, the final path you have to find yourself. He provides the texts in schools, but later on, it is your interpretations that will really count. He provides the signboards, the path you have to traverse. Same thing happens with Upanishads too. Upanishads open your eyes to the ultimate truth as much as you are capable of understanding. They open your eyes mentally through your own efforts. There's no compulsion of any sort. Uh, it's like numbers that we look at. Um, we have the numbers as well as, let's say, mathematical operators in front of you. You have to put two and two together and get the answers. I have say two and two, and I could get answers right from 0, 1, 4, 16, depending upon whether I add, subtract, multiply, take powers, and so forth, take percentages. So many things could be done, and every time the results could be different. Numbers wouldn't change, the information, basic information wouldn't change, but the interpretations would change depending upon my applicability of it. Same thing happens with the Upanishads. Upanishads are a class apart. They don't preach a new religion, but they refine it. They're a part of Vedas, but they are far more advanced. There's a shift in the base from the Karma Kand to the Jnana Kand, from rituals to being philosophical. Upanishads believe in self realization. They don't believe in enforcing ideas or concepts. The Upanishads did not refute Vedic gods, but saw them in new light. They raised the threshold of our virtues and morals as far as the Indian society was concerned. Uh, the ideas of what is good, what is bad, what is ideal, what is moral, what is immoral, what is tolerable, what is unacceptable, all has been directly or indirectly clarified in the Upanishads. And as I told you, there are more than 108 of them that are officially the best ones. Um, the Upanishads re-established the moral and ethical standards of what is known as Dharma in Indian philosophy. But it doesn't believe in any miracles. The ideas are beyond the bonds and binds of religion. So they are timeless. They can be applied to any person willing to accept good thoughts. It's beyond religion, equally thought provoking as it was then, as it is today. There's a major shift in the thought process, as I said, and in the priorities, and what really matters, even then and today. From karma kand to jnan kand, from rituals to mental aspects, from self centered behavior to good for all, which is known as the Shreyas and the Preyas. It moves from different gods to the Ishtadev, that is the preferred suitable god, to the Kuldaivat, which is the family god, to the Panth or the sect that you follow, to Virat, the cosmic god, then to the Sagun Brahma, that is the Brahma with attributes, and finally to the Nirguna Brahma, that is the Brahma without attributes or beyond attributes. It introduced the Upanishads, all of them, in fact, introduced many new concepts like the Jiva, the life form, Atma, the soul, Brahma, s- then Satya, the truth, Maya, which is talked of so often, Prajnan, Tapa, which is penance, Dan, which is giving, Daya, which is kindness, Ahimsa, interpreted by so many, Bali, which is sacrifice, Moksha, which is salvation, Punarjanma, the rebirth, Bhakti, the devotion, Saguna, that is with attributes, and Nirguna, without attributes, in so many different forms. And then, as I said, Shreyas and Preyas, and the Stid Pradnya, the one with firm mental state. There are many things that the Upanishads did. There is freedom of thought, there is no compulsion, there is no dogma. Upanishads believe in self realization, not in enforcing ideas. Uh, Only trouble is, it is highly condensed, concentrated form of ideas put forth in a variety of ways. Uh, Only the guidelines are there, the path is pointed. Self realization and getting your own answers the way you want them or the way you have been guided to is what is expected. Also, it depends upon your personal ability as to the level that you can always reach. This obviously leads to, like the answers in maths that I talked of, leads to diverse interpretations. That, in fact, is the strength of the Upanishads. You have the basic material and you are free to think along different lines. This resulted into many major diverse thought processes. Some of them are the philosophies that we know of, the Advaita philosophy, the Dvaita philosophy, the Vishishta Advaita philosophy, the Purva Mimamsa, the Uttar Mimamsa. These are all known as the Darshan Shastras. I'm going to come to them a little later. Today, you just need to know and have heard these words. Uh, they are evolved from the same set of Upanishads, the same mantras, the same shlokas. How? We'll talk of some time later. It also resulted into a number of different sects, the Saura, the Ganapatya, and the others, the Shaiva and the Vaishnavas. And also realized that in the subcontinent there were other religions. The Buddhists, the Jains, the Sikhs, they all borrowed many of the concepts from the Upanishads, then highlighted specific concepts and put them at the core of their religion. So everything in this subcontinent is associated with the ideas from the Upanishads. Even conflicting ideas between different Upanishads and within Upanishads were also allowed, tolerated. These Upanishads address many questions, not only questions but also provide answers for them. The question and answers are both direct, indirect, and implied. The prime objective of the Upanishads is Brahmadnyan, the knowledge of Brahma, the ultimate entity, the ultimate power, the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality, everything. What is Brahma? How do we achieve it? What is its relation with the Atma? This is the crux of Upanishads. Uh, it presents interpretations of concepts beyond sensory perception, something that we can't sense, touch, feel, or smell through our organs. What is the Jiva, the life form? What is Jagat, the living space, or Srushti? What is the universe, the Brahmand? What is its origin? When will it end? Will it go along in cycles? All these ideas were thought of then, not now. Uh, and then they had their own interpretations. Uh, and they also talked of the interrelation between each of these ideas. Then there was one more big aspect. Uh, the Upanishads established what we today talk of as the Mahavakyas. These Mahavakyas were actually identified from the Upanishads uh, much later by Shankaracharya. And they basically form the core concept of every Upanishads. He's the one who selected them from each of the four Vedas and put them forward. We'll go into details of all of them in due course of time. Uh, the Upanishads gave new meaning to old concepts. They were modified. The yajna, the dharma, the karma, the nishkam karma, all these in new light, not the way they were talked of in the karma kanda. How? Again, a little later. The concepts and ideas were already presented to a large extent within the karma kanda sometimes, but they were seen in new light. They were correlated in a new manner, and they were interpreted in a different manner through the Upanishads. Uh, Methods of understanding these usually associated with self analysis, uh, understanding through sadhana, which is dedicated efforts by the individual. Uh, the processes involved chintan, manan, nididhyasan, thinking, contemplating, analyzing, interpreting. All these were a part and parcel of the Upanishads. And the tools to achieve this uh, were also mentioned previously, maybe in the Aranyaks and later on also. These deal with what is known as the Chitta Shuddhi, cleansing of your mind, Upasana, which is closer to meditation at a specific point, uh, Nishalatva, that is steadfastness. Unless you have these, you can't really understand many of the complex ideas that were put forward in the Upanishads. Actually, all this Nishalatva, Upasana, etc., are from the earlier part gradually developed as the human or the individual or a good student trains himself through the Karma Kanda up to the Jnana Kanda. In the Upanishads, the concepts were clarified by different methods which were quite unique. Uh, One of the methods is known as the dialogues. These are dialogues between either the teacher and another teacher, or the guru, the teacher and a student or a disciple, between two disciples, between the guru and his son, the guru and his wife, and many others, the guru and an intelligent king, and so forth. And this was one of the ways in which the questions were put forward and the answers were put forward by either of them, and the interpretation was carried out. And there was one more technique which is totally different from other techniques that is used anywhere else. It is known as the neti neti. Not this, not this, not this. Think again. and come to your own conclusions. How this is put to practice, we look up as we go through many of the dialogues and aspects dealing with Upanishads. As I said, these are the major aspects associated with what makes Upanishads so great, what makes them so special. How these things are thought of, processed, interpreted. Let's give it a try as we proceed. Till we start off with the techniques of how the learning process actually went by. Till then, till we meet next time. Namaskar.